Thank you guys so much for joining us again as we're here talking again with Les Petersen on in-person sales and projection sales. I want to thank you guys for joining us. If you haven't seen the others, this is actually the fourth in this series of this talk on in-person sales, and so I want to thank you again, Les, for helping us. I've learned so much so far. Even though I've been doing it for 30 years now, you've given me some ideas that I'm really excited to put into practice. So as we continue on, I want to ask you, first of all, tell me about this background that we have behind us.
Well, I have the world's strangest background ever made. That was printed from a photograph, an old photograph somebody found. It was about the size of a stamp. And the company had painted backgrounds, so I sent that to them, and they painted it. And it is really weird.
It's
but
pretty, though.
People love it. I have sold hundreds of big portraits using that background. It's really great with children.
That's fun.
And if anybody's looking for a weird background, give me a call.
So we continue our talk about in-person sales. I want to ask you about your price guide. Do you actually give your price guide to your client before they sit down, after they sit down? How does that work?
Well, when they call me to get information, I listen a lot, and I try to identify if they think they can afford me, because our prices are above the norm, and a lot of people with good intentions come and they can't afford it after we've done it, and I want to be sure that they can afford what we're doing. I don't want to waste their time and my time. So I'll listen, and if I feel like there may be a question, I will mail them a price list so they'll have that. And when we've done that over the years, occasionally we'll get somebody call up and say, you know, in talking to you, it sounds great. I wish we could use you, but we just simply can't afford it. We don't have that kind of money. And that's okay. I'll recommend another photographer they can afford.
Sure.
You know, you try to help people out. But I don't want them coming and then being disappointed. I don't want anybody in my studio disappointed. And so I'll mail that to them. Normally, after I photograph them, I give them a price list while we're making the appointment to come back to see the proofs. So they have a chance to go through them before they arrive.
Right.
And they have a general idea of they don't know what they're buying, how many or anything, but they have a general idea about what they're going to spend. Quite often I don't do it then, and I wait until after they see the slideshow and they edit it down to their favorite pictures, and I turn on the light to begin the sales presentation. I'll give them a price list then, and we'll go through it and discuss it all so they understand everything. And I know you don't do it this way, but I hand them an ink pen and say, you can write all over it.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
You know, and the more they write, the more I buy.
So that kind of leads us right into the next question, which is, do you mind just kind of walking us through a typical sales appointment?
Not at all, but it sounds typical, but everyone's different.
That's true.
My goodness, you'll get some surprises. But you got to remember, when I'm photographing or they're calling on the phone to book an appointment, I tell them how we sell. That they come into the studio by appointment,
Right.
and they pick the poses they like, and they place their order and pay their deposit at that time. And I'm very honest, there are no proofs to check out. So they know it's not left for them to think any other way. They know. When they come in, this is when it really starts getting fun. I mentioned earlier in one of the segments, I like to meet people at the car as they drive in. We have a 200-foot driveway. I know when they're coming, so I'm watching for them. And generally, I'm out at the end of the drive waiting for them as they pull in. I open the door, I greet the people, we have a good conversation. I go into the house where the studio is, don't go into the sales room yet, and I'll chat some more. I'm just trying to break down barriers. I want them to calm down. They've been out in the rude, crude world and facing all that's going on in this world. I want to get that out of them for a little bit.
Sure.
Give them a refuge. You know, get them away from that. Be a friend. And then I'll offer them a drink, a soft drink. I had one judge one time demand I gave him he wanted a whiskey. Well, sir, I'm a Baptist. I don't have a whiskey. But he wanted one. But anyway, we give them a Coke and a bottle of water, whatever they want. And again, that's just to slow them down a little bit. Then I'll take them into the projection room where, guess what? I talk some more. I talk to everybody non-stop.
Yeah.
I don't have to know you to talk to you. You're my best friend. I've known you all my life to a total stranger. And I do that, and then when I think they're ready, that's when I'll begin the sales presentation. They are.
Yeah.
You know, do something, make some noise. But when they're laughing or I hear them crying, that kind of thing, I think, good, we got it, we did it, we're here. And so we go to do the slideshow. After that's over, I tell them that we're going to edit. I tell them how we edit. I'm going to show you a picture. If you like it, say keep it. If you don't like it, say take it out. If you're not sure about it, say keep it.
Right.
So we have 2 keeps and 1 reject, okay? And they're all, yeah, we got it. We're brighter than you think. We got it. And so we go through them, and I try to get them to edit down to 25. Purposely, I want 25 for a reason that you'll hear in a minute. Then I hand them a clipboard and some paper, and I say, write down, they're numbered, write down the numbers that are your very favorite. If there's 5 people sitting there, everybody gets a clipboard and a sheet of paper and a pen. And they don't have to match each other. Write down your personal favorites. And then after we've done that, I'll say, call out the lowest number first. If it's number 3, I go to number 3. And I say, do you still want to keep that? Yes. What's the next number? 5. I go to 5. Keep or not? Yeah, if one person out of those 5 say keep, we keep. And we just keep going through them until we get down to their favorites. And if you will listen, especially after you've done this a while, you'll learn to listen to their comments back and forth. You will know their favorite picture long before they announce it. Because when one particular one comes up, they keep talking about it.
Right.
And you know that's the favorite. That's good ammunition for you to know. So they get down to their favorites. That's when the light comes on, and we show them our Hufnagel display. And we show them a price list.
Right.
And first of all, we run through the price list so they understand packages and individual and different finishes and things. Then we go to the Hufnagel display. And what that is, it's the most effective sales tool in the world.
Really?
It really is, in my opinion. I took one image and I made an 8 by 10, an 11 by 14, 16 by 20, 20, 24, 24, 30, and a 30 by 40, and I hung them all in the row. Same picture, all different sizes. And I have the people seated closest to the 30 by 40. I want that to look enormous.
Yeah.
I don't expect people to buy them. I don't care if they buy it or not. What I want it to do is to make the other ones look like a more reasonable size.
Right.
So they aren't concentrating only on money. I want them concentrating on what's the right size. Often they will say, what we're wanting is that second one down there, the 8 by 10. Happens almost 100% of the time. And I'll say, I'm sorry, that's not the 8 by 10. The 8 by 10 is the one on the end. No, the one on the end is a 5 by 7. That is an 8 by 10. No, it's not. Well, they'll get up. They all do it. They'll get up and walk down to it. And when they stand up and walk towards that print, I win.
Wow.
I win. Because they're realizing for the first time that 8 by 10 is really small. It's not a wall portrait.
Yeah.
You know, and so when we get down there, we decide to talk about the other sizes. Because now they're confused. What do I really want? Well, remember, you volunteer, you tell why, and you say the benefits. So I will go to the 11 by 14. Well, first I'll say the 8 by 10 costs $50. And our student, that's not the price of our, I'm just using that as an example.
Okay.
The 8 by 10 is $50.
Right.
The 11 by 14 is $225. Now, by volunteering that information, they understand I'm not ashamed of my prices. I think I'm worth what I'm charging.
Right.
And that's an important thing. And then I'll tell them why that size is a good size and how to use it. And I call it a hallway picture, because the proper viewing distance is no more than 3 feet. So if it's hanging in the hallway, you're viewing it from probably a little less than 3 feet. It's the right size. You can see the faces, you can see the expressions, and it fits right in there. It's perfect. And I'll ask them, are you wanting it for the hallway? Nobody says, yep, that's where we're going to put it. And I say, well, if it's going like in the living room, you may want to go up to this one. This is the 16 by 20. It's $350. On this one, you'll notice that the face sizes are larger. You can view it from a distance, and that's what makes it the right size, the viewing distance. And when you have the right size, it adds to the room decor. You can view it easy, and it's very, very right size for most people.
Sure.
And and now they're educated. They understand more than how much did it cost. And I don't know what a size is. They don't. And this is 16, 20, 4, 350, and we do it that way. If I can, I will then go to the $450 20 by 24 and explain how to use it and where it fits on properly on the wall and what their viewing distance is. I'm giving them volunteering price, giving the information they need to know, and that in turn is the benefits to them. They understand it from the point of view of benefits.
That's great.
It is so critical.
Yeah.
And I just realized I talk a lot with my hands.
Oh, it's okay.
Anyway, we go through those. Now, let's say they established they want the 20 by 24.
Right.
Well, am I done? No, I'm not done. I got more to do. Now, if I'll ask, where are you going to hang this? Well, it'll be in the living room. In the living room, okay. Will it be up a long time? Well, yeah. Well, then you might want to move up to the canvas finish. It's $150 more, and I have 2 finishes. I have a fine art canvas, which is a real tight weave, and I have the traditional canvas, which is more of a loose, heavier looking material, and they are good because they add that really artist touch. It looks almost like a painting. It really adds to the decor of the home.
Right.
And I'm giving these the price and why and the benefits. You keep doing that over and over on everything. And they don't know you're doing it. They just think you're being helpful.
Right.
And so I do it. But if they came in wanting a $50 8 by 10 and I moved them to a $450 portrait, I made 9 times the amount they were going to spend.
Right.
If I added the 150, now I'm up to 12 times what they're going to spend. Nobody feels rushed. Nobody feels pressure. Here they are. Here's how you use them. Here's the benefits. And they make the decision based on knowledge.
Yeah, that's great.
And I don't ever get people complaining later. The only complaint we ever get,
Bought too small.
bought too small.
Yeah.
Hear that a lot.
We hear that too.
We just bought too little. Of course, I have a trade-in thing too. But
Yeah. Let me ask you a little bit more about the Huffnagel. First of all, is it a close-up? Is it a full length? And then also the finish. How do you display your finishes in that Huffnagel?
Well, I've tried different finishes from canvas to just a smooth surface.
Right.
I'm getting ready to do a new one now, and it will be a smooth surface one.
Oh, it will.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because I don't want to do canvas and then try to talk them up to it.
True.
I want the smooth and talk them up and show the benefits of moving up. And I think it adds to your order.
And then what about, are you showing full length? Are you showing 2 people, 3 people?
The key, and it varies, I've done individual pictures, I've done adults, I've done family groups, I've done different indoor, outdoor, different combinations. The key is I want the face size small.
Right.
I don't want a close-up, which is fine on 8 by 10, but on a 24 by 30, you don't need a poster, you want a portrait.
Right.
And there's a big difference. So I keep the face sizes fairly small. My thinking is face sizes should be between 3 and 7 inches from the chin to the hairline. If you follow that, that will put them into certain print sizes.
That's good. Well, one of the things that we've done, and I don't know, I'd love to get your opinion on it. We do actually have a Huff-Nagel display in our studio. And what we've done is actually each image is a different kind of finish. Went from painting to canvas to board mount, so on and so forth, until we have these images that are all in different finishes. And it seems to work pretty well for us. And do you have them come up and kind of touch them? And
You know, people think I'm nuts, but I believe you sell by touch.
yeah, I do too.
I think touch is really important. If they feel an 8x10 that's dry mounted, it has a certain feel.
Right.
If we also do a custom mount that's real thick with beveled edges on it, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's real thick, real heavy, and takes on a different feel of more value.
Right.
Yeah, and then you can go into the canvas and do that. What you're doing is great because it shows them different finishes. You can say
sizes.
how much they cost. You can tell them why you use that finish and how they would benefit from doing that. So no, I think that's great. We have a couple of 11 by 14s on canvas that we can hand them and let them hold them. But on our, and most studios don't do this, but all of our 16 by 20 and larger are mounted on masonite,
Yeah.
which is very solid, very heavy.
Right.
30 by 40 is pretty heavy. Yeah, but when I hand that to them, men do it, women don't, but men will go just like that. Great. They just sold themselves.
Right.
I don't know why they're beating the print, but if they buy, I don't care.
And one of the things I'd like to say right here, since you mentioned that, there are a lot of great professional labs out there, tons of them. We happen to both use the same lab, and I just
Right.
want to throw it out there if you want to know. It's full color.
Yep.
And I will tell you that for their canvas portraits, they still strip the photograph from the backing and put it onto the canvas. You may not know what that means, but it's an amazing thing where you can see the canvas through
Yeah,
the
the
photograph
canvas
really well.
texture shows up better that
Right.
way.
But there are lots of great labs out there to choose from. There's CPQ and Miller's and what else?
Well, there's a lot of labs. H&H comes to mind,
Yeah.
and there's CPQ. There's a lot of good labs out there.
There's great ones.
But the reason I switched to full color, the owners and all of the employees are Christian.
Yeah.
And they're willing. In fact, some of their account executives go on a lot of mission trips. And I like to deal with fellow believers.
Yeah.
Anytime I can. The roofing company, I just had my house roofed. And I just met one of the owners, and we got to talking. And we were talking about football. And he says, Bart Starr, you don't know who that is, but Bart Starr, old timer, is my hero. And he stopped and he says, well, wait a minute. Jesus Christ is my hero.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, God wants me to use you.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that easy.
Well, we're not telling you have to use full color. As I said before, there's
No, it's
lots
just a
of
good lab.
Yeah, there are lots of great labs out there, but I will tell you this, we're not being paid by full color. We get nothing from
No,
it. We
right.
just like them.
No.
So it's, find the lab that you love and stick with them, and that'll be great.
Well, one of the things I really encourage, and people don't do it, and I don't understand why, you need to visit your lab at least once a year just to go meet the people who are printing your works and be a face and a person to them, not an account.
Yeah.
And I think they treat people that way better than they might just somebody I've never met before.
Yeah, it's just like us wanting our clients to come in and be able to show them what we have and sell
Right.
to them. The labs are the same way. They would love to have you come visit. So
Well-
find a great lab you love and make sure they're professional.
Let me continue on, though, through
Sure.
the presentation. Once I establish the size and the finish for the main portrait, then I want to sell what I call gift portraits. I want them to buy portraits for family and friends. And when I do that, remember, I know a whole series of pictures they like.
Yeah.
I know, because they wrote them down, and when they wrote them down, I wrote them down. So I know what they're thinking. And when I'm ready to move on to selling gift portraits, I never say, do you want to buy a portrait for your grandmother? Never. It's what pose do you guys want for your family and friends? Not what do you want one, which pose. And it's so cool because they just start rattling off people. I had a thing happen not long ago. It's really neat. Somebody I've been coming to me for probably close to 30 years, members of the family and extended family and things. And I did a daughter's senior picture, and we're sitting there, and we got to those gift portraits, and the mother's sitting there trying to figure out who am I going to give these to, and her daughter, she's taking so long. Her daughter and I went to the other side of the room, sat down, and chatted, and she's still over there doing this, and finally I got up and I gave her a piece of paper and an ink pen. I said, write their names down, and she did. 17 names. She had no intention of buying more than a couple. But when she wrote the names down and knew these were people who loved their daughter and would want a picture and value it, she had 17. Wow. So how you ask a question during a sales presentation is very important. That's so cool. It's not do you want, don't ask questions that can be answered with a no, because you're going to get no all the time. Which poses do you want? So I try to establish that. And at some point I think, okay, time to move on. I got what we're going to get. Then I bring out the albums. We have these albums. Now listen, remember we saved 25 of the slides, or proofs? 25. Why? Because my album holds, well, it holds 24. So I tell them, we have these albums that you can get. Remember all those pictures you liked and you didn't want to get rid of? You get them all in the book for one price. Do I sell it? Not very often. But what I do sell is a coffee table book. The book is press printed. It's not the same quality as photographic printing, but it's good and people like it. It's $3.35. That's where they usually end up. So if you back up, I sold a wall portrait. I put it on canvas. I sold whatever number of those gift portraits. Now I'm going to sell another $335 little coffee table book. There's only one thing I say this in my studio about. This item is a studio best buy. You can buy all the duplicate books you want for $175, and you know that's a good price. I came up with that price because I wanted to net $100 per book, and they cost us $75. So every time I sell them, we get that book. Yeah. And so you keep adding on as you go along. Do people buy everything I try to sell? No, but they don't ever buy it if you don't show them and talk to them. Right. And from there we go into what we call designer boards. It's a big print with multiple images on it that they can frame, and it looks like a matted print. We sell them by the truckloads, and we keep adding on. Then the last thing we do, Carolyn, is we try to sell wallets. Really? Nobody buys them, but we try to sell them. You know, with digital, they'd rather be on Facebook, that kind of thing. Right. The only wallets we ever sell are to high school seniors for their announcements. Other than that, wallet sales are a thing of the past. Really? So that pretty much takes you through the procedures and the different areas that we try to cover. Everybody needs to figure out what works for them. Write it down. Rehearse it. Don't go in there and start practicing on a customer. Talk your way aloud through it. Ask a family member to sit there and be the customer and talk to them and be able to answer their questions. And so, yeah, don't just go in cold. Practice what you're doing. Now, one of the things you wanted me to do was give you a brilliant answer on how we close. Yeah. Well, I've got a brilliant answer. And if you go hear a professional salesperson speak, yeah, they have all these wonderful closings. Mine's good too. Yeah. It's 2 words. And this is what I always do. I'll go through the whole steps and I'll say, anything else? It's just that simple. Anything else? And surprisingly, there are times when they'll say, well, yeah, okay, what? And they'll add to the order. Wow. But most of the time it says, no, we came in wanting to spend $300 and you just got us for $1,500. We're satisfied. You know, and it's all in jest. Yeah. They wouldn't have spent it if they didn't want it. Yeah. And so that's how we do a sales projection.
Do you have sometimes have buyer's remorse where they get home and they think about it and they're thinking, oh, I'm not sure I want that big of a portrait, or I'm not sure I want that album.
I can't sit here and tell you everything works out just perfect every time.
Right.
You can't do that. We have had people call and say, can we cut back a little bit? And you better be willing to go, yes, that would be fine. I want you happy with what you get. I want you coming back. You know, I talk honest to them. Hey, I want you for a repeat customer.
Right.
Next time the need comes up, think me. So you do whatever you need to do. Now, if it's already sent to the lab and printed, that's a little late.
Right.
But generally, they know within 24 hours.
Right.
So
what about if somebody says to you, well, I just really can't make up my mind. I want to go home and think about it. Can I come back in a couple of days, or next week, or next month?
well, I'll go back to where I was earlier. We explain it over and over and over, and we use the term, this is when you place your order. Not in that tone of voice,
Right.
but this is when they place the order. They know that. We tell them they need to have half down. They know that. Does it ever happen? Yes, on occasion, but it's so rare, it's one of those things we don't lose sleep over.
Right.
If it happens once a year, that would surprise me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, because we've taught them how it works.
Right. What if they live out of state, or they live out of the city a couple hours away? What do you do then?
Well, I think too many people make issues out of non-issues. My last appointment, a lady called from Tulsa, which is a suburb, we're the suburb of Tulsa, and she says, my sister's coming to town, bringing her 2 girls, and she wants portraits made by you while they're here. And I said, great. They came in, we photographed them, we came into the house as usual to make an appointment for them to come view them. And the lady from out of town said, I can't do that. I'll be gone by then. And I said, that's how I do it.
Right.
And she says, well, can you email it? And I get that question.
Yeah.
And I have the great answer. No, I don't email stuff. I don't put it on the internet. And the lady says, oh, what can we do? And I said, listen, this is your sister right here. She made the appointment. She's known you a long time. Yeah, she has. And your daughters are her nieces. She loves them. She knows them. I think she's perfectly capable of coming in and picking out the right pictures for you and buying you what you want. Just give her an idea what you need, and she'll take care of it. And to my surprise, she goes, that's great.
Really?
Yeah, she was all excited about it. So the aunt came in, ordered the strangest order I've had in all of my career. 4 albums. Never had that before. Have you?
No.
4 albums and 56 8x10s.
Wow.
That's a strange order. Well, it turns out she was from out of town, Russia.
Really?
They were
Wow.
from Russia. And she does come back to the States once a year.
Wow.
So it's not like she could just jump on the plane and come to Tulsa and go back that afternoon.
Right.
You know, it'd be a big deal. But I still would not have emailed him, because I would still be waiting for the order.
Wow.
It's just like paper proofs. They're not going to order them until they feel like it. And by the time they feel like it, they're not going to order much. So I just stand by my guns.
So it's kind of the idea of, this is your business. You need to take control of it, and it's your decision to run your business the way you want to run it.
So many photographers don't have policies.
Right.
When you have a policy, stick to your policy. Don't waver, because when you waver, word gets out. And when her friend comes in for pictures, she knows, oh, I can say this and get my way. So, no, everybody's treated the same.
With a smile.
With a smile. No, ma'am, I'm not sending them on the internet.
There you go. Well, Les, I want to thank you again for your time today.
But we're not, for today.
Yeah, for today. We're gonna take this back up again next week and probably close it out at
We
that
will.
time. But I just want to thank you so much for your time and for your willingness to share. And we will see you guys next
You
time.
know what we really ought to do is thank our cameraman. He's done such a
Yeah, oh
good
yeah,
job.
he has, hasn't he?
Yeah. Maybe you can give him a hug and a kiss tonight.
Well, I don't know about that, but we'll see.